Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dojo 21 Questions. I'm Tish Hicks, the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo, and we are very excited to welcome Leigh here to answer the 21 questions. Hi, Katie.
Hi, well, I used to play 20 questions when I was a kid, so hopefully I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, we'll get blackjack and we'll win. So here's the first question. What is your one word check-in for today? If you had to distill this very moment into one word, what would your one word check-in be?
Peaceful.
Awesome. Yay. Where are you from?
I am from California, from Southern California. I actually graduated high school in Van Nuys in the Valley. Yeah, but today I'm in Palm Springs.
Uh-huh. And do you live in Palm Springs?
No, we just came for a few days to because it's
Nice.
been a little cool at home, so
Oh, right, right, right. Yeah.
wanted some sunshine.
Yeah. And where do you live now?
Torrance. I
Oh.
live in the South Bay, which
Mm-hmm.
is south of the LA airport, closer to the beach.
Yeah. I remember we saw each other on the way back from a VOA or something, and you
Yes,
were
that's
there.
right. You were at the airport.
Yeah. Okay, now this is a big one.
Okay.
Maybe we should change it to what wouldn't we? But what would we know your voice from?
Oh yeah. Well, I did a lot of cartoons. I started my career in like 81, so it's been a while. And I was fortunate enough to work on some really long-running cartoon shows like The Muppet Babies. I did Rolf the dog's voice. Gummy Bears. I was Sunny Gummy, the one with the yellow hair. I also worked on Darkwing Duck, which is pretty popular. I did Hulk Buttlefoot's voice, and that was fun. I got to play Jim Cummings played my dad. He was Darkwing and also Honker's dad. I worked on My Little Pony. Some things people don't know is that I worked on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So I revoiced the Maharaja in that movie. So I did a lot of voice matching in my career. Um, Currently, I mean, also work on a radio show called Adventures in Odyssey, and this is our 36th year. I've
Wow.
been playing that character, so a lot of people know me from that.
Yeah.
And just many other cartoons. Oh, I've been doing I think I told you I got last year I got to do the voice for a big Galaxarium, it's called, at Epcot Center. It's their
Oh, wow.
Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but their queue has I'm the voice of World Mind. And so when people are in queue and getting to get to the ride, they hear me.
Wow.
Like 5 times we had to record everything to match, and then they did all kinds of crazy stuff to it.
Wow. That's cool. And that's another legacy sort of thing. Like thousands of
Yeah, it's
millions of
pretty
people will
exciting.
hear that.
Yeah, a lot of people know me from Totally Spies. It depends how old you are. And
Right.
now
Right.
I get people who recognize. I just got recognized because I've been doing a lot of voices for Khan Academy Kids. So people who use
Oh, yeah.
that recognize me.
Yeah. And really lovely the blend of how of all the places that all the different genres that you work in. That's very cool. So you
Yep,
said
yep. Now I got a Pepsi commercial running, so people go, "I went to the movies and I heard your voice."
so it really is. Where wouldn't we hear your voice? That's awesome. And you said you started in 1981. So,
Yeah, that's when I graduated college.
wow.
I actually started a little before that, but
Hmm.
I moved to LA in 81. I grew up here, but I graduated in San Francisco, came down and gave it a couple of years. I said, well, see if I can make a living doing this thing.
Or a couple decades, whatever, however.
Well, it worked out. So I'm very thankful. Yeah. So
Yeah.
probably full time since 1983.
Wow, that's amazing. And who's your current team? Who are you with and
Oh,
how
represented
yeah,
wise?
represented?
Well, right now I'm with Portia Scott at Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
And I have a few other agents around the country. I
Mhm.
don't they probably know who they are, but Eric Shepard and Lisa Ristow.
Hmm.
in both ears. I don't have a New York agent, so if anybody out there wants me, I'm available. Yeah.
There
But
you
now
go.
things go across the board, so it doesn't. It's not, things aren't as localized as
Hmm.
There are some, and that's why I like to just say, well, just send me your stuff that's local, because otherwise I'd probably get it from my LA agent,
Right.
and I need my LA agent for the animation
Hmm.
stuff
Yeah.
mostly. Yeah,
Well, then it's also just a testament that this is always shifting, always changing, no matter how
always
recently or
shifting.
how long you've
Yeah.
been doing it. Yeah. Yeah. I know you said you're traveling, so if I asked what's your setup, I guess I should say what's your setup at home because you
Oh, well, this is my setup here. I don't know if you can see. I got a.
Ah,
You want to? We want to see it? Do you want me to take you over there?
sure, sure, sure.
Let's see. This is. You've never had a traveling aspect question. Well, I took the computer out so I could talk to you. But if you look in here, can you see? Let me see if I can turn a light on. Because it's dark. This is actually I had this sort of custom. Let's see if it'll turn the light on. Oh, well, there's lights. Anyway, my microphone here, I'll pull the curtain back. It's a 4x4 booth, but when I got to this particular location,
Uh-huh.
you see there's a fireplace.
Oh
This
yeah.
great shelf here. So I said, well, maybe we'll make it like a triangle and
Okay.
just take advantage of this space. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's that. But my setup at home, I actually brought my mic from home because I had to do a job that I had to continue that I'd
Mm-hmm.
started at home. So I have a Sennheiser 416, and I normally don't record on my laptop. I have
Mm-hmm.
my Mac Mini at home, and I have a booth, a vocal booth at home, which is
Mm-hmm.
about the same size as that one, but it has a door
Right.
and a window, but I kind of have it covered up just for the
Mm-hmm.
sound. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Does that
Excellent.
answer the
It
question?
answers the question. It also
Good.
it's just great to know, like also I think, for people starting out to know what people who've been doing this for a long time and then recognizing what what other people
What
have.
they can do. Well, I mean, normally I would have, I mean, sometimes you just want to book out. I couldn't in this case.
Yeah.
But you make your pillow forts, and auditioning to me, it's not quite as critical as recording a job.
Yeah.
So I'll just give a little shout out because there's a lot of different booths out there, and I thought I'd try this Snap Studio, and it's basically just PVC pipes with moving blankets, and I suppose anybody could build something like that. But the original one they sent me was 6 feet tall, and I couldn't get all the pipes in a suitcase because if I ever wanted to
Ah.
travel with it and make it easier, so we asked the guy who made it to send us some shorter pipes, and now it's only, maybe it was 7 feet tall, now it's 6. I'm not tall. I don't need it. And I can, fiddle with it easier. And we've even just taken the frame before and used clips with hotel blankets
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
things. But I thought since we drove here, we could take the heavy blanket. So you never know what you're gonna do, but it's nice
Yeah.
to have those options. And their booths were only like $500.
Yeah. And it's called Snap Booth?
Snap Studio.
Snap Studio. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
So, I mean, we've got extra things we're not even using because the blankets actually weigh like 11 pounds each.
Oh wow.
Like, I can't carry this. But if you're in the car, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how did you get started, Katie?
I was a good student who talked too much. Tish. Yeah. Yeah. And when I got out of high school, people started saying things to me like I sounded young, and I really didn't have any idea. People didn't walk around with recording devices like they do
Hmm.
now. I was kind of clueless. And I grew up in Hollywood, basically, right? In
Mm-hmm.
LA. So you meet people in the business, and they gave me some suggestions, and I was pretty shy. But when I was in San Francisco, I took an improv class just maybe to build my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept doing it and doing it. And that skill is really my training for voiceover. And I think I have a good ear for mimicking, because like I said, I've done a lot of voice matches.
Mm-hmm.
And when I graduated college with my broadcast communication arts degree,
Mm-hmm.
which took me a while to figure that out, I had gotten a gig in the city in San Francisco that entitled me to join the Screen Actors Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody will even know what I'm talking about, but it was on film strip. It was a pitch for Hawaiian Punch, and because they used a film strip, which nobody knows what that is, for their pitch to the ad agency, it was film, and it entitled me to join the Screen Actors Guild.
Wow.
So I graduated, and I thought, well, now what am I going to do? Because I thought I was going to be a producer, but everybody said, oh, you should go to LA because that's where they do more animation, more character stuff. And God was with me that day. I called Cunningham at the time, Cunningham, Escott, and DePini. There was no S in the name.
Mm-hmm.
And Arlene Thornton, who was the agent working with them at the time, answered the phone because the receptionist was on break. And I said, I'm looking to, do voiceover in LA and looking for agent. And she said, you sound like you're 12. How soon can you get here? And that's kind of what happened. I was with them for
Wow.
26 years.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
So everybody's story is different.
And
Um,
it's that easy.
but that we still had, pagers and answering services. You'd have to call in and see if you had any auditions, because we didn't do them from home back then. Obviously, we drove to the ad agencies, we drove to casting offices,
Mm-hmm.
the agent's office, and sent in the reel to reels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very different back then.
Wow. Yeah, I think I was as early as cassette tape, so I'm just behind you there. Yeah, yeah. We touched on this, but what would you say the three top ingredients to your success?
Flexibility,
Mhm.
and openness to learn new things and meet people, and making friends.
Yeah, yeah. God, yeah. Those are good ingredients. Now, what besides the receptionist being
On break.
going to lunch was what would you say your big break, or do you think of things in that way? Or where
It's so funny because when you're working in voiceover, and like when we started, it was such an invisible job. There was no social media, right? And we just wanted to work and make our rent and whatever. But I would say the getting the Muppet Babies was just, I mean, that was the most exciting thing. I had been doing a show called Dungeons and Dragons with the same director.
Wow.
So if I want to take it back to working with Hank Soroyan, because if it weren't for knowing him, I
Mhm.
wouldn't have bumped into him at Hamburger Hamlet and said, what are you working on? And he said, Muppet. And I was a huge Muppet fan. He goes, can you do, he asked me, do you think you could do Baby Piggy's voice? I said, no, that's a guy. I don't know why I said that. And then he said, well, I'm working on the show Muppet Babies, and my eyes got so big. And I said, well, we'll have you in at the callbacks. And I said, no. It's the only time I ever called my agent. I said, I need to go to that audition tomorrow. I'm not waiting for the callbacks. And I went to rent a video to watch the Muppets and figure out who I could be. And I just knew I could connect with Rolf, who I'd grown up with. And he
Yeah.
said, so my big break was being the other show that led to that show, I guess.
Mhm.
And that was so exciting for me. I guess that's a break. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think it is. Well, I think yeah, it was one way before, and then it was another way after, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was working on shows. It wasn't my first series, but it was a dream come true.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, super cool. Super cool. Now, how long from starting VO to making your full living at it?
Two
How's
years.
2 years? Awesome. Great, great, great. And did
I
you?
was a key punch operator.
That's exactly my next question. What else did you do?
I
Keep
was a key
going.
punch operator, and nobody knows what that is
Look it
either.
up. Google
Well,
it.
now everybody has their own computer, so basically you're all key punch operators. And back then, when computers had to have their own rooms and air conditioning, people did not the data input or data entry is what they called it after it was called key punch. And it's something I learned in school. So I highly recommend if there's any young people, go to Scroc, take advantage of it, go for free, learn a skill so you can make a decent, honest, you won't even believe this, but this was 1976 and we were making $9 an hour key
Wow.
punching. It was a good job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And go to what did you say?
Oh, the occupational centers that usually allow high schoolers to take classes. So every Saturday for like 6 months, I learned how to do that. And
Mhm.
then the company hired me. And, it's just, it's good that I'm talking like a mom, have something to fall back on, but,
Well, I
it's
like
good.
it. I like to think of it as something to keep moving you forward, not something to fall back on. It's
Everything we
something to
do
keep
in
moving
life
you forward. Yeah.
keeps us moving forward, and it's nice. And I think as much as you want to book gigs, if you're not desperate, right, to make your rent, it helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I think we might have answered this question with Muppet Babies, but what are you proudest of in your voiceover career?
Well, I'm proudest of playing Connie Kendall on Adventures in Odyssey. I
Super
think I get emails from people almost every week
mm-hmm.
just saying how much it means to them, how much the show means to them, how it's impacted their lives. And that's pretty amazing because what I was going to say before is you don't know when you're doing something how old your audience is. You're not going to bump into 8-year-olds on the street or 10-year-olds who are going to tell you anything how you changed their lives until they become 30 and you meet them
Ooh,
at a convention or something, and then you hear all these amazing stories, and we think we're just working and having fun, but we're really impacting people by what we do. What we do is not insignificant. And so that I'm really, really proud of. And lately we have a YouTube show. I don't know if you know that. My husband, we call him the crew of one, produces it. And during COVID, I started it with my good buddy, Will Ryan, who I worked on lots of projects with. And unfortunately, he passed away 9 months into our project. But we kept doing it. So we're still, now I bring guests on. Before it was just us kind of goofing off. And now
Oh,
I try to
what's it
bring
called? How can we find it? We
Tell
can
You Later.
call
TELLYALATER. Tell You Later.
you
So it's
later.
on YouTube, and we have patrons who help support us. And I try to bring on people that don't necessarily, they're just, I know I've had this most amazing life. I mean, I won't say I'm proud of it. I'm just amazed by it. And I meet the most interesting people with incredible stories. And some are in voiceover, some are animators, some are just like I had a blind neuroscientist on cognitive science who I met because she was a fan of stuff. So I meet people and I just want to share, these wonderful people I know with the rest of the world. So that's kind of what we do. And sometimes I cook. My husband records it or bake popcorn.
That's fantastic. Well, I look forward to exploring it. That's great. Um, On the other side, what's your biggest fear or challenge in your voiceover career?
Biggest fear is that I'm just gonna, my biggest fear. I don't know that I have any. Uh, I don't know. My, I mean, if I lost my voice, that would be tough.
Yeah, that would be
And
tough.
and to be honest, I meet a lot of young voiceover people who have all these routines and remedies, and I didn't do any of that. You catch me in the studio eating chocolate and drinking coffee before I go into the booth. So, I try to stay current. I got Source Connect. My biggest fear
Or
is
challenge?
that I would say something or do something that would hurt somebody,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
I have a reputation because of the radio program I work on. It's a Christian radio show.
Hmm.
And so now with social media and internet, everybody's watching everything you do.
Interesting.
And so I feel a lot more self-conscious than
Interesting.
I would have otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a challenge, I guess, and a fear. Good. Answer both those. Let's
There, done, done. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
yes.
And I think that's sort of the recipe for success, isn't it? Because this work requires that you be able to work so diligently by yourself, and especially now in your closet, and then it also requires that you're out and meeting and connecting and
Yeah, I mean, I
relating.
do like being with people. Like, but when I was in VO Atlanta, I was teaching there, and this time I was very careful to have more quiet time so I wouldn't lose my voice because we do so much more work. I mean, honestly, when I started, let me just say, I think I work 4 times as hard now than when I started to make basically the same amount of money.
Wow,
It's
interesting.
just a whole different thing. So you have to be a little more precious with yourself. It's not like you go to auditions maybe 3 or 4 times a week and work, a few times, you go to the studio. It's just different.
It's different, yeah.
Um, but yeah, what was the question?
Oh, introvert or extrovert? I think we got
Oh yeah, no,
the answer both, yeah.
I love people. I do. I love talking to people and meeting people, but I also, I think part of being a good voiceover person is being observant and listening, and so I have that sort of aspect to myself. People think I'm not paying attention when I am.
See you. If you could do voiceover from anywhere, where would it be?
I can.
I can. So where would you choose?
Oh, you mean to live?
Yeah.
If I could afford to go someplace else?
Yeah.
That's the big question, right? Getting to be a certain age, we're trying to
Right,
figure
right.
that out.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I really like Greece.
Excellent. Okay. Let's say that. We'll see you there. What would you say your VO motto is, if you have one?
Ah, I do. If I can remember it. I should have looked at your questions. Uh, just do it. Just do it. You know, I do have a quote. It's better to, well, I don't know. VO motto. Yeah, just you know what? Don't let fear stop you. Just, you learn by actually my VO motto is learn by doing.
Learn by doing. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, that's very much what we're about here. Phew.
That's what I always say. You know what? Let's just do it because you're going to learn. The questions come up as you're doing it. You
Yeah.
can't like talk something to death before it even happens.
Yeah.
And yeah. And what if? The other thing, I have another motto.
Mhm.
And this is because I'm bad at math, but I feel like you always have a 50-50 chance. Either you get it or you don't.
Yeah. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. It's
Right?
it's
I mean,
true.
what's the difference if it's 1,000,000 to 1 or 1 to 1? Either you get
Right.
it or you don't.
That actually is really good for the soul, isn't it? Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. Knowing what you know now, what would you say to yourself at the beginning of your career?
Just don't be so nervous. Don't worry about being perfect. I've halfway through my career, I learned if the director thinks it's okay, it's okay. Let
Yes,
it go.
yeah. My husband says when the client's happy, my work is done.
Exactly. So you always like, I want to be better. I want to be better. Is this okay? Is that okay? What about if they're because they've got their goal, you're working for them.
Mhm.
If they say, okay, moving, if you really have a great idea, okay, but overall, if the director's happy, move on.
Excellent, excellent. And last question, what is your next goal or desire, VO or otherwise? I know you said like when you got the Muppet babies, you're like, oh, what else do you dream of? What's your next goal or desire?
I guess one is to be in a movie
Mm-hmm.
on camera. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would like to be a promo announcer for kids TV again. I
Oh
did it
yeah.
once for
Mm,
half a year at ABC, and that was fun.
excellent.
And I would like to do that. And I guess I'd like to figure out how to travel around comfortably and work and find that balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are goals, promo announcing, and to join another loop group if there's any ADR groups out there that want. Well, you know what happened? They were like 12-hour days. And they
Mm-hmm.
were great. I still get residuals. I worked on so many wonderful movies that,
Mm-hmm.
Risky Business might have been my first one. Okay. And just
Uh-huh.
all these. And then I was raising my kids and I didn't want to be away from home that long. And then loop groups change and people change and I
Yeah.
miss it. It was fun.
Yeah, cool. Well, those are fantastic desires. Yay. We always uh we always say at the dojo, the first rule of the dojo is know what you want, ask for it. People will give it to you if you allow.
You're
So
a good
there
sensei.
you go.
I
So
always tell people that, always ask. Don't be afraid. I'm the kid in class who I'd ask dumb questions. People afterwards say, oh, I'm so glad you asked that because I was afraid to ask that myself. I'm like, why?
yeah.
Why? Ask. All they can say is no. And especially these days, make friends with people. People are so willing to share what they've learned usually, at least if they're a little older, and especially in voiceover, we're not so scared someone's going to take our jobs like
Yeah.
on camera people might be, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Katie, thank you so much for being here and we'll see you and ask the sensei soon and
Yes, there's a high sign.
talk to you soon.
Thank you, Tish.
Bye.